It's Wednesday morning, it's 10:30 to be precise. I just went to get my blood work done. I got my breakfast because I couldn't eat anything for these blood tests. And now I can finally talk to you. And what I want to talk about today is a different type of winter arc. Basically, I want to talk about wintering in a sense of slowing down and using this season to nourish and nurture your body. I've seen a lot of winter arc videos, and it seems that the overarching theme there is to use this extra time, so to say, to work on your mind, your body, your goals, so that by the time spring arrives, you have internally and externally glowed up. And if you are this type of person who wants to spend winter on glowing up, then good for you. It's amazing, like really props to you. But this video will be more for people who feel overwhelmed in winter and who need to proactively take a step back and really slow down to feel mentally and physically okay. For me personally, winter is quite a stressful time. It marks the end of the fiscal year. It also means a lot of planning and budgeting for the next year. In marketing, it also means, well, I don't have a job right now. I'm not sure which video comes out first, but I'm unemployed right now. But typically in marketing, it also means a very intense workload because you have to squeeze in a lot of promotion and a lot of marketing campaigns to deliver for the holiday season. I would love to enjoy the holiday season, and I would love to focus on my own healing and my own goals in this winter season. The reality is different, so I have to adapt, which means I've developed a few coping strategies with winter, which I'm going to share with you today. We're going to be talking about things like rest and having a proper diet, a proper workout, basically all the same things you might hear about in these more goal-oriented videos. But we're going to be looking at them through the lens of slowing down and nourishing yourself. Basically just using this time to nurture ourselves. First of all, let's talk about rest. If you're new to this channel, then just a heads up, I love talking about rest. I'm a huge proponent of having sufficient time to recharge, whether we're talking about having a good night's sleep or having a lot of downtime at the end of the day. But for now, I want to focus on sleep hygiene. Sleep hygiene is important all year round, but I'd say that even more so in winter. It's really easy to sleep off your bedtime routine in winter. The sun doesn't rise up that early anymore, and it is already down before it's even 4 p.m. You're more prone to taking this second, third, fourth cup of coffee in the afternoon. You're more prone to sleeping in on the weekend. You're more prone to going to bed late. All of it affects your natural sleep and wake cycle. I'm reading this book right now about time and how we experience it and what affects this perception. And there is this interesting example. In the 60s or 70s, last century, this French underground explorer, Michel Siffre, pardon my French, wanted to see if there is such a thing as a natural sleep and wake cycle. And spoilers alert, he's now considered as the father of chronobiology. Sorry. Anyway, for this experiment, he went in one of the underground caves where there was no light. He didn't have any watch on him, he didn't have any calendar. There were obviously no gadgets at the time, and he didn't have any connection with the outer world. He had a journal in him though, so he was documenting his experience with spending 2 months. He was there for 2 months. So spending 2 months in full darkness. He was also logging in his wake up time and the time when he would go to bed, his perceived time, of course, because again, he didn't have any watch. And after these 2 months, it was discovered that, first of all, we do have this natural sleep and wake cycle that keeps on running even without any source of light. But what's even more interesting is that this natural cycle takes more than 24 hours. It actually takes 24 hours and 31 minutes. So every day he was off by about half an hour. So by the time the experiment ended, he was already a few days or a week behind. I think something like that. Why am I telling you all of this? This sleep and wake cycle is corrected by light. At times when there is no light available to us and you don't want your body to default to its natural rhythm, the next best thing is a habit. A strict bedtime routine is what will help you not to lose touch with the reality or time, more like, which tends to happen in winter. Even more so, there's multiple studies that prove that a strict bedtime routine helps reduce the symptoms of depression, anxiety, it helps improve digestion, and it has many other benefits both on mental and physical health. So if you want to stay sane, and I'm using this word right now, if you want to stay sane in winter, a robust sleep hygiene, a strict bedtime is a must. So what I've been doing to maintain my sleep hygiene is I've been trying to wake up at the same time every day. I wake up at 7:30 or sometimes 7 on the weekdays, and I wake up at 8:30, sometimes 9 on the weekends. I gotta say, it is incredibly hard to get up in the morning. The moment my alarm goes off, it's usually very dark and very cold outside, so my body is confused as to why it should even leave the bed. But once I get off the bed and I have my glass of warm water and I take my medication and I just walk around the apartment a little bit, I already feel fine. Then I try to go to bed at the same time every day. I don't stay up, I don't go out, and I'm so used to having the same bedtime routine that I get naturally tired by 9 p.m. So I try to be in bed by 10:30. Sometimes I push it to midnight, but midnight is really the latest I go to bed. Another thing I started doing in the morning, I try to expose myself to the light. It doesn't matter whether it's a natural light or artificial. Most of the time, we do not have any natural light during the day. We don't experience polar night where I live. I live in southern Finland, but we do have like 4 to 5 hours of daylight, which is very little. So sometimes I have to use the light therapy lamp to replace the daylight, but it is fine. I don't drink any coffee in the afternoon. I try my best to have only one caffeinated drink per day, and then for the rest of the day I either drink hot water or herbal drinks. I know you feel a little bit old, a little bit sleepy at the time of sunset. I feel it too, and that's usually the time when I think that a second cup of coffee might fix that whole situation, but I know from experience that it doesn't. It just keeps me up all night and it makes me anxious for no reason. So I try to steer clear of that. Instead, what I do and what I noticed helps is, first of all, simply pushing past that feeling. Usually when the sun is fully down, after some time has passed, you feel normal again. Of course, you're not as active as you would normally be on a summer evening or even better during the day, but you can still go on with your day if you need to. Another thing that helps is going for a walk. I'm quite an experienced walker. I've had 2 dogs, so I'm really used to walking in any weather conditions at any time of the day, and I don't know what it is about. Maybe it's some nature magic, but it really helps you sort of set your body clock with the usual clock, and it just makes things all right. And finally, the final thing that helps me is doing some breathing exercises. I've learned them from my dad, who has been doing free diving, and Again, I think here it's just you get a lot of oxygen in your brain, and that energizes you, that makes you active again. And with that being said, I'm now gonna go to the store because I need to do some groceries, I need to make lunch and dinner, and we'll reconvene in a moment. By the way, look at that snowstorm. I don't know if you can see it well, but it's snowing quite heavily. It's just a shame that it's gonna all melt away in a few days. They promised that it's gonna be +10 here again. And also, I don't know if you can see, but we have a few birds here. We've been feeding birds. It's our second winter that we've been feeding birds. They're quite nice. So here's what I'm having for lunch today. The plate is actually quite heavy, so I don't think I'll be able to film for long, but yeah, I'm having today sweet potato fries, oven-baked chicken, spinach, cherry tomatoes, cucumber, and a bit of feta for this extra flavor and fat. And as you can see, a healthy and nutritious meal doesn't mean that you have to come up with any crazy ideas or spend a lot of time on preparing the food. It's a little bit later already. It's almost 3:30 p.m. and it is quite dark outside. Also, if you hear any strange noises in the video, it's just the wind. It's quite strong today, so I'm apologizing in advance. And yeah, I just had my lunch. I cleaned a little bit. I cleaned the kitchen after cooking, and I did a few things I had to do, so I spent like maybe 2 hours on that, and now I'm ready to chat again. And what I wanted to talk about were two things: food and movement. So basically the two things that give us energy. And when it comes to food, as you saw with my own lunch, it doesn't have to be anything extraordinary. I would suggest you to look for some simple recipes that you can rotate on a regular basis. Something really simple, something that doesn't take much time or energy, so that it's almost a semi-automatic process, so that you can reserve all that energy and use on wintering, use on resting. And another thing, when it comes to diet, there are usually two types of anxiety related to food. The first one is, am I eating healthy? And the second one is, how much time is it going to take? And we tend to switch between eating out, that doesn't take much time but might be unhealthy, and obsessing over making our own food. I think in winter, it's perfectly fine to eat out more or to rely on some pre-made meals more often. The way I like to approach it is using this 80-20 approach attitude, which means that my diet should be healthy in 80%. Should be healthy 80% of times. So if you have 3 meals a day plus snacks, so let's count it as 4 meals a day, you multiply it by 7, so you get 28 per week. Out of these 28, 80% will be 22 to 23. So you get almost 2 full days when you can eat whatever unhealthy food you want. In case if you're anxious about your own diet and you're not sure if you should be eating out, if it will be okay, maybe you have some health issues, maybe you have some digestion problems, these, so 5 to 6 meals, 5 to 6 unhealthy meals are more than okay. They shouldn't interfere with any of your healthy habits. The goal here is to find some balance between nourishing your body with healthy food and saving up time on cooking by eating out. So do whatever it takes to find and maintain that balance. Try meal prepping, try having the same breakfast for multiple months in a row. Eat out, buy pre-made meals. Just do whatever you need to do to hit this spot where you're not stressing over the food. When it comes to exercise, I actually like to reduce the intensity of my workouts in winter. So I would run less. I actually do run less. I went for a run last week and I did 5k instead of 10k, or 3 miles instead of 6 miles, depending on whichever system you use. I also reduce the weights I exercise with at the gym. I generally try to take it easy. And overall, I try to opt in for more low impact workouts. So I would do things like walking, yoga, stretching. Actually, I don't stretch or do yoga these days, but I walk quite a bit, so I believe that counts. I feel like, again, it's not that we're hibernating, humans don't really hibernate, but we're in that limbo state where, because we're overwhelmed and it's cold and dark outside, we want to find ways to reserve this energy, and spending less of it on working out might be actually an option. At the same time, we still want to move our body because, well, I personally find it incredibly therapeutic. For me, going to the gym, going for a run, doing yoga has been very healing, and I would recommend it to anyone that it's better than therapy. Really, at least for me, that has been my experience. For me, it has been better than therapy. And also, we want to take care of our body, and that includes some gentle, mindful movement. We just want to find ways to adjust our routine so that it can match the season. So yeah, look for ways to reduce the intensity of your workout routine. Maybe for you it means simply doing less at the gym or on the treadmill. Maybe it means going to the gym 2 times a week instead of 3 or 4. Or maybe it means giving up some heavy exercise and instead introducing a low impact workout like yoga or walking. And if you feel like doing a heavier workout, then go for it. But if you feel like you are too tired and too overwhelmed to exhaust yourself at the gym, then look for ways to adjust your routine. It doesn't have to be the same all the time. And I think I'm gonna pause for now. I still have a few things I need to do today, and we're gonna continue this video tomorrow. Hello, it's Thursday morning. The sun has been out for like a nanosecond and now it's dark again. Let me show you how it looks. I have my phone here so I can film it. As you can see, it is snowing, and that's why the sky is of this wonderful gray color. I have to keep the lights on for pretty much the whole day, otherwise it's just too dark and depressing inside. Anyway, when it comes to wintering, I think it's very important to remember the non-resistance component. I wouldn't say that I hate winters. I actually try to look for beauty in every season. Of course, my favorite is spring. It's just amazing. The days get longer, but you still have some dark time because summer here is, well, it's also quite horrible. It doesn't get dark at all, and the birds are shouting so you can't sleep. But spring is a totally different story. The days are getting longer, the air is fresh, it's much warmer, you can go out for longer walks, and you have this like nice light feeling in your chest, which might be allergy, but we don't care. Anyway, springs are amazing. Anyway, I digress. Even with my huge appreciation for spring, I would still say that I've liked winters my entire life. But I noticed that when I graduated from high school, when I started transitioning into this adult self, I started ignoring winter in a sense that I would try to keep the same productivity levels. I would treat my mental and physical health as if it were spring outside. I would basically ignore all the winter cues and the fact that winter brings certain changes with it to your environment, to how you feel, right? Neither our mind nor our body exists in vacuum. It is all interconnected, and our mind affects our body, and our body affects our mind, and the environment affects both of them. And it's like this beautiful, beautiful mixture of everything. So I started ignoring that the winter season brings certain changes that affect either my body or my mind. And of course, this attitude would bring a lot of frustration with it. First of all, I would pretend that winter didn't influence me, but of course I would still feel the change. I would be less energetic, more tired, I would get sick more often, I wouldn't be able to continue with all of my projects. But instead of accepting this as a normal part of winter, a normal thing, I would get upset about it. And on top of that, by ignoring winter, by pretending that it's still summer, I would deprive myself of the possibility to enjoy this season. Because let's be honest, even if winter is not your favorite season, there are some things that are only possible in winter. Winter sports are only possible in winter, given that you live in a place where there is proper winter. Then Christmas markets are only possible in winter. Some movies or books are more enjoyable in winter. I would deprive myself of all of these things because I would pretend it was still summer. So when I'm talking about non-resisting winter, I'm talking about looking for ways, big and small, to enjoy this season. So my plans for enjoying this season include reading, of course. I've been now getting into the idea of seasonal reading, and it doesn't necessarily mean what you might think it does. So I'm not necessarily looking for books that talk about Christmas or are set up in winter, but I do have this feeling that some authors or some types of literature or some particular books give me more of this winter vibe than others. So I was thinking of reading Dickens or Little Women. I've never actually read Little Women, so it might be a perfect opportunity for me to do so. I'm actually reading a non-fiction book right now, Time Warped, and I feel like just by the way it's structured and just judging by the narrative, it would fit spring better. But since I started reading it already and I am interested in the topic, I'm just gonna finish it and then move on to this more wintry books. I know that a lot of people reread or rewatch the Harry Potter series around the Christmas time, so you can give that a shot. Another thing I've been obsessed over is watching cooking shows. I'm actually not a big fan of reality TV. I prefer watching my Korean dramas, but somehow in winter I feel drawn to watching cooking TV shows. And the one I've been watching now is called Culinary Class Wars. It's Korean as well, but even if you're not into the world of K-pop or K-beauty or K-dramas, I would still recommend you give it a try if you like cooking shows, of course. It has very high ratings and it actually has an interesting twist to it because the judges, they judge all the dishes purely on taste, even though there are a few Michelin star chefs in the cooking show. So the idea is the idea of the show is to juxtapose these very well-known chefs and I guess I want to say amateurs, but they're not really amateurs. But anyway, like very well-known chefs and less known chefs, and you would expect that the judges would evaluate food based on its appearance as well, if there are so many high-class chefs. But even in their case, all their ratings are given purely on the taste basis. So that was quite interesting to watch. Anyway, cooking shows are another interest of mine that appears only in winter, and I am going to indulge in it. Then I'm planning to go to the sauna often. We have a sauna in our apartment. That's quite common for Finland. But yeah, it is very nice. It really has a lot of health benefits. I also like it because it relaxes my mind. And then speaking about enjoying winter in small ways, I'm planning to air clean or air my sweaters once it gets cold, maybe even freeze my bed linen. It's very good. It kills all the bacteria and then it gives it this incredible smell. I don't know, it feels like extra fresh and extra clean. I love it. Especially for wool or cashmere, it's actually recommended to air your sweaters rather than wash them in the washing machine or even by hand, because it's more gentle this way. It makes the fabric less brittle, it doesn't wash out any color. I'm not saying that I don't wash my sweaters at all, but in winter I try to opt for this natural way of cleaning my sweaters more often. I've been also now mending my clothes quite a lot. Well, quite a lot is an exaggeration. I've only mended my coat and my sweater, but I feel like in winter you kind of like feel drawn, you feel cold to do something with your hands, but I'm not really good at knitting or sewing, so mending feels like this good alternative because it doesn't take much time, it doesn't require much skill, it doesn't take much energy, and then I can be very proud of myself for, you know, fixing my clothes myself, and also it's a great way to save money. Let me actually show you. So this is, please, yes, okay. So this is what it looks like. Of course, it's not great, but then also it's not that noticeable. So unless you come really close, the patch is not noticeable, which is great, makes me feel really proud. And this sweater has lasted me 5 years, and I'm planning for it to last, if not for another 5 years, then at least for 3 more. I think, as I already said, it's a great way to save money, it's a great way to be more sustainable, and it also makes you feel more accomplished when you do it. So yeah, mending is definitely on my list of enjoying winter in smaller ways. Of course, I don't need to mend that much, but sometimes I do. And then I'm planning to do your usual winter package. I'm planning to visit a Christmas market. I'm planning to go out when there is snow on the ground. I mean, it's snowing right now, but I know for a fact that it's going to melt away. The weather forecast promise that it's going to be very warm. In a few days, it's going to be +10. I'm also going to put the same temperature in Fahrenheit for those of you who do not understand Celsius. Anyway, I'm planning to go out and enjoy the weather when there is snow on the ground and when it's not freaking freezing, or I mean, it will be freezing, but not freaking freezing. I'm also thinking of meeting my friends and going for a nice cup of hot chocolate and, you know, watching all the classic Christmas movies, so just basic things. So what I'm talking about is I want to look for ways to spin the season around and turn it into a cozy one rather than a gloomy one. I want to have something I will be excited about. I want to have something to look forward to, whether it's something big like reading a book or watching a cooking show, or whether it's something small like taking my sweaters out on the balcony. And with that being said, I think I'm gonna finish this video right now. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments section. I think I'm gonna try and film a few more videos like that. Vlogging is definitely a challenge for me. It feels definitely hard to show my life and talk at the same time, and also I feel that because I'm quite a boring person, nobody would be interested in watching an average day of an average person, but let me know your thoughts. And as always, I wish you a happy day, I wish you all the best, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye!